That's right, I've got a steering wheel. There's a lot of green tape on here, you can probably see. Basically, we're missing a screw to help secure it. So we got some tape, it's all working. Hi, welcome to this amazing thing that we're going to be doing here. This is Silent Hill 4, the room on a steering wheel. The last time I properly ran this was about a year ago. Been trying to get myself some D-Rust in, and not doing too bad actually, not doing too bad. But you know what else is not too bad? I'm joined by the legendary, the wonderful DJ Rebirth. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Hello, everybody, and hello, ESA. I am the disembodied voice of DJ Rebirth, joining you from the central, sunny, well, it's a little thunderous outside, plains of Nebraska in the middle of the USA, but I am very happy to be here. I'm very happy to be commentating Nikoheart's incredible run. I've seen him do this in his regular stream, and it is far from regular. It is absolutely amazing. So you are all in for a treat today.
So with that, especially definitely irregular, I'll tell you that for free. So I'm going to go over a few pre-requirements, but before we do that, we do have a little bit of an incentive for you lot at home as well. Now, you can see our wonderful friend here, newborn Sven Dizzy, because Pal Dizzy, my normal wheel, back at home, I was not able to bring Pal Dizzy, so we had to birth another wheel, thanks to our wonderful friend, Tainted Tally, who is over there. They went out of their way to literally buy me a wheel specifically for ESA. So can we get a round of applause for you, Tally, please? Thank you so much, buddy. Seriously, thank you. So, why not celebrate the birthday, happy birthday, of Sven Dizzy? $10. Every $10 donation that we get, we're going to put another bow onto Sven Dizzy somewhere. We've got glue. We've got tissue as well. And we got loads of bows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 of them. I think I counted. I probably didn't count properly. Anyway, so pre-requirements. We're using the software ReWASD or ReWAS, whatever you like to call it, which is basically turning this wheel, which is the Hori W-A-W-R-A Apex, Hori spelled H-O-R-Y-I even. It's 3 a.m. I'm caffeinated up. Oh, yay! What else is there? We're using that to turn this wheel, which is recognized as an Xbox 360 controller, into keyboard and mouse movements, basically. We are making 2 profiles, which you'll see in the bottom right of the game window, which will show you a shifting between profiles. The first profile is going to be for like first person, so we're going to be using mouse controls and keyboard controls for that point. And then when we go into the outer worlds, it's going to go into third person, for which you're going to be using sort of like turning, which is kind of like, let's kind of say tank movement. You remember like Resident Evil sort of stuff. So that's basically how it is. It's a very, very tough challenge. I had to do a whole new remapping. I had to do a whole new learning of this route because there's been loads of changes since the last time I ran it. I think we're going to be ready to go. Before I do anything, DJ Rebirth is going to be commentating pretty much the entirety of this run because this will take an immense amount of focus because this run is very, very operation heavy. So if you guys are ready, I think we are all ready. DJ Rebirth, are you ready as well?
Absolutely, sir, and best of luck to you.
Thank you very, very much. I'm going to leave you in the capable hands of DJ Rebirth, and I'll probably chime in every so often. So I'll call time in a second, and I'll hit this little button over here. I'm going to have to lean forwards a bit. So time starts. Let's go.
All right, my friends. So Nico is jamming out in the nightmare sequence. We are actually in the body of a man named Joseph Schreiber, who we will meet much later. But the nightmare sequence is done because it goes by that quickly. So now there's going to be a quick cutscene that we're going to skip that kind of introduces the game and some credits and whatnot. And now we're in the actual body of our protagonist, Henry Townsend, the primary individual that we will be controlling during the run, that we will be experiencing this wild and wacky game. We're just right now going through the apartment, just looking in a cubby, looking in a fridge, looking out the door to get a certain cutscene to trigger so we can get to the next area. But yes, this is the very fourth Silent Hill game ever made, and the very first Silent Hill game ever to feature any sort of first-person interaction. This game actually came out during the summer of 2004 approximately, which was actually exactly 1 year after Silent Hill 3 came out. So they were cranking these games out. They were a full blast production house. Konami was doing their thing, and it was times were high and well. So now if you heard that sound effect, a hole just manifested itself in Henry's bathroom. By the way, we're in apartment room 302. Henry has been trapped in his apartment for a total of 5 days. If you saw in the fridge, there was no food left except an empty wine bottle and a bottle of chocolate milk, which I think Henry saved. You want to save the best for last, and I think he was saving the best for last. So suddenly, after these 5 days pass, his neighbors can't hear him. He can't open his front door, which has been chained shut. He can't open his windows. There's no getting out for him. All of a sudden, this ginormous hole appears in his bathroom. Where does this hole lead? Well, we're going to find out. But first, we got to go through this little hole crawling sequence. We're going to see this many times, but we only have to go through it manually once. And basically what Nico is doing, he's holding the up button, then releasing it, holding it, releasing it, holding it, releasing it. This actually allows us to get through the hole much quicker. If we actually hold the up button, the crawl button, you'll crawl a little bit, then you'll stop. But by us just pushing and releasing it, we get through the hole a lot quicker.
So what
I
you
believe
just
Nico
saw,
has.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what you saw as well, like earlier on, is that like in the bottom right corner it said Shift 1 profile is now active. So now all of my remapping has changed to a third-person dynamic profile engagement. Basically, it's kind of operating again on the turn left, turn right, and camera panning left and camera panning right. As you see, I'm doing here. I'm just kind of like meandering a little bit to the left and the right. That's basically us moving the camera a little bit as well, and it actually does help us to keep that forward acceleration quite handily.
Yeah, and that's actually one really important speedrun strat in this game. That's been, I'd say it's a newer strat that was discovered maybe in the past year or two. I believe it was prevalent in the former PC version. By the way, we're playing on the GOG version. The GOG version of this game is a newer game that was released late 2020, which was this. It's actually one of the few Silent Hill games that's completely stable and completely playable. It's only $9.99. It's good stuff. But recently they added an update for like that heavy support for third-party controllers. So you could use any sort of Xbox or PlayStation or Nintendo Switch controller, or any like a third-party controller as well. And it made the gameplay a lot more robust, which has allowed our wonderful friend Pal Dizzy to do such an amazing job.
Sven Dizzy.
Sven Dizzy, excuse me. Where have I been? Sven Dizzy. Pardon me. So, Nico examined a shelf that had just kind of moved, and he moved it to the side, and he found a weird hole dug into the wall, just peering into his next door neighbor in room 301, Eileen Galvin, who we're going to meet later. We just peered through that. We skipped that cutscene, and then we picked up the handgun. Then we went back to the bedroom where Cynthia Velasquez, the woman that we met inside the subway, called us. Not sure how she got Henry's number. When we met her earlier in the cutscene, we skipped. She thought she was dreaming. So somehow between the dream and the time we went back to her apartment, she was able to figure out what Henry's phone number was. And then we went back into the women's restroom where that hole to Henry's apartment was. We found a dummy that kind of looked like Cynthia, but wasn't quite Cynthia. It was bloody, like its hands were bloody. And we just picked up a couple of subway tokens that we're going to use on this turnstile now. And we're basically just going to navigate through the general subway area. We're going to skip a couple cutscenes. We're going to meet the very first ghost right here. You actually see this ghost in the intro, one of the intro cutscenes during the nightmare sequence that we skipped. That ghost's name is actually Jimmy Stone. I will be telling you the different names of the ghosts as I remember it. Let's see. That is also Jimmy. Flippin' Jimmy. There's Jimmy.
And that's Jimmy.
So now,
and that's Jimmy. And
yep.
that's Jimmy.
Yep. Jimmy's all over. He is not camera shy whatsoever. So we saw Cynthia trapped in one of the subway cars. So we basically ran to the end and pushed that button. That's actually going to release the lock on the door. Now Cynthia's out. So now we're going to run past. That's Toby. And that's Sharon. You know that's Sharon because she's got that nice little hat. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into that old subway car. Welcome to Silent Hill 4, everybody. This game can turn you around. The way the camera moves and the way the rooms are laid out and how you go, the game in itself is very repetitive. So you go through, we're going to go through 5 core areas, actually, during the duration of this run. But we're actually going to go through them 2 times each time. And the requirements for completing them change. And, while you're running this game, I've run this game, by the way, for about 4 years, and I still get turned around. It's wild. And just, it's one of those things where, it's like, for example, you're walking into a room in your house and you're like, wait, why did I enter this room? Same thing kind of applies when we go back to Henry's apartment, when we go to different areas that, look very similar. It's very repetitive. And I think that's what adds a very unique challenge to this game in general. So right now we're just, we're still exploring. We're exploring this hole that appeared. We're exploring the subway world. We're actually another cutscene we skipped. When we looked out Henry's window from his bedroom, we actually see Cynthia Velasquez standing at the very top of the stairs to the subway, just folding her arms, flapping her arms, just looking very like she's in a tizzy. And then she just goes in, and then all of a sudden, the next thing we know, we're in this subway world, meeting Cynthia, and in some of the dialogue, she just says, "Oh, hi, I think I'm dreaming. Haha, I'm gonna have some fun while I'm here," and play the game, and you'll understand. So she's just somehow in this very grotesque kind of weird subway world where there's ghosts flying around. There's dog-like hyenas. There's giant worms slash
there we go,
umbilical cord looking things. Yeah, this dog loves to bite you. So this is an area that Nico's going up the escalator, the longest escalator ever. I call it the escamolator. But you can kind of see that there are little highlighted spots on the wall where these little wall men pop out of. So we basically need to kind of bait them out. Yeah, there we go. Very nice. We need to bait them out, but we need to dodge their attacks. Otherwise, that will happen. The hitbox in general for their attacks and Henry's hitbox and the overlap is very... it's not very nice, and the way their attacks that they carry out are 100% randomized. It's RNG. So sometimes, if you're lucky, when you're playing through this, you can just see them just popping their little heads out. If you see just a little teeny tiny head pop out of the wall, that means you can just run past and get a freebie. But in most cases, they will just execute some sort of attack.
All right, we're up.
Bait them out and run past.
We're up.
We have finished the escalator.
That's one out of many, by the way.
Oh yeah, we get to go down there again. So we're about to be done with the subway area. Once Nico goes to that door.
Once I eventually get to that door.
Yes, he did it.
Right, should we get time for a few donations in a moment? Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Great. Right, Zed, would you like to?
Yeah, I would definitely like to, because we have a few waiting to be read. First and foremost, I hope I get this name right. Zero Kiaran has donated a whopping $150. Thank you so much. Saying, brace yourself, chat. We are in for some off the rails action as Nico treats us to a speedrun of Steering Hill 4. Good luck, Nico, and let's keep donating to save the children.
I think we could definitely get a bow with that one. Who wanted to come up and put a bow on the wheel? And that's tallied. There we go. All right, we can get maybe one more donation in, then we can continue with the commentary.
Yes, sure. One more. $20 by Shookschat saying 10 for a bow for Sven Dizzy and 10 for Sven Dizzy's pal Dizzy. Also 10 for Argic's name choice and 10 for Golden Sun. Thank you so much. Remember, we're raising funds for Save the Children. Button below the stream to donate or type !donate in chat.
Thank you very much, Zed. Rebirth, it's back to you, buddy.
Absolutely. Thank you again for those wonderful donations. We very, very much appreciate it. Thank you. So now we have, so we exited the subway area, and the final cutscene we skipped from the subway was of Cynthia unfortunately getting murdered. Yes, this is a horror game. There's going to be lots of murder in this, so brace yourselves.
Oh, doggy, go away.
Oh yeah, they love to get you. So Cynthia unfortunately dies, and then we wake up, we pass out, and we wake back up in our bed. And we do the same thing where we go directly to the bathroom, we jump in that hole, and now we are in the forest orphanage area. Just this strange area that we're just getting teleported to. So we're just going through here, we're exploring. We briefly ran past a man named Jasper Gain. He's another NPC that we meet. Spoilers, any NPC we meet in any area, they will be dead by the end of the area. That is the nature of this game. This game is very mean to any living human, except Henry. Henry kind of observes. He's just kind of observing all this happen around him. I commend him for keeping his cool this entire time. I would not be able to keep my cool. Just be like, oh my gosh, I'm going through a hole in my bathroom and everyone's dead. What is going on? So we actually skipped another cutscene where we just met a child. It's actually young Walter Sullivan. You're going to hear the name Walter Sullivan a lot coming up very soon. It's a very core name to this run. But essentially what we're doing in this game, as we visit these different areas, this central character, Walter Sullivan, these areas are tied to his memories as he grew up as he went through his childhood, as he went through his young adult life, and his short adult life. Walter is actually, he's dead. He's very dead. But real quickly, what we just did is we brought Henry's last resort bottle of chocolate milk over to Mr. Jasper Gain, who's just hanging out in front of this orphanage area, and we traded it for this spade that he just kind of throws on the floor. What's really interesting about this bottle of chocolate milk is as long as you are in that room with Jasper, he will just continue chugging that chocolate milk. I like to think that in this...
Let's go.
Exactly. Infinite chocolate milk. It is absolutely amazing. And so so what we're doing right now is we're taking this spade that we got from Jasper, and we're going to use it on these hand-shaped roots on the ground.
There we go.
Use it on these hand-shaped roots, and we're going to dig out I believe it's called a rusted bloody key.
Yep.
And there it is. And what we need to do is we need to get rid of this key as quickly as possible. It's not because it's a detriment to be carrying it, but if we try and return to the orphanage area, we will just be stuck in a loop in a little foggy area. There's actually an inscription on the key, if you examine the key, that basically says something along the lines of, "He who holds this key will wander for all of eternity." So essentially what we need to do is we need to offload this key into our storage box back in our apartment and just get it off of our person, and also get rid of a few inventory items that we don't need at this time. Inventory management is very, very important in this game because there are a couple areas where you need a completely empty inventory box because there are a lot of things you need to pick up. And the way Nico switches back and forth between those first-person and third-person profiles while managing the inventory is absolutely amazing. So
it's tough to remember sometimes. So I was like, wait, am I going into first person, third person? Okay, I've got to switch now. The nice thing about the actual switching of profiles is that they're colored as well. So it does help my brain a little bit more to be able to go, oh yeah, so red is third, yellow is first. So doggies. These doggies here can be so painful because there's 4 of them. They're all trying to get their way towards you. And they're single bat as well. But I didn't take that much damage there. That was actually not bad. That was not bad.
One strategy that's sometimes used during this game is when enemies are kind of jumping and attacking at you. If you swing the camera over, sometimes you can alter their aim. It's not a perfect strategy by any means, but it is fairly effective. So, during a speed run, it is a way to kind of, offload the enemies off your targeting axis and all that good stuff. So now what we're doing is we're back in the area directly in front of the orphanage, and we went back in the hole so Nico could grab that key, so he will no longer wander for all of eternity. So now he's just going to go through this hole, and he's just going to wander over to the orphanage and use the key and advance the plot a little bit, and sooner or later we're going to be done with this area. But yeah, this is the Forest World area. This is an orphanage that Walter Sullivan, in fact, grew up in because as a baby, he was abandoned by his parents in, turns out, room 302, the same apartment that Henry lives in, room 302 of South Ashfield Heights. That apartment that Henry lives in is actually a very central location to the game. So we have Walter Sullivan, we have Jasper screaming in this room. We're going to hop in there and skip a cutscene, but basically what we see is Jasper is just immolated. He's on fire. It's just it was a hot day when he was visiting the Forest World, but it was even hotter inside that room because someone set him ablaze. Some invisible individual. Someone is going and is killing these NPCs, and we have no idea who. And we later find out it's Walter Sullivan. So now, speaking of Forest World, which actually borders Lake Toluca, which borders Silent Hill. This is the water prison. We just ran past the cell of an individual known as Andrew DeSalvo. He is a former prison guard at this water prison area. This water prison was utilized by the owners of the orphanage, who actually the orphanage was called Wish House. It was owned and operated by the Order. Yep, the central cult in Silent Hill. So somehow these children who are orphaned kind of within the area of South Ashfield Heights and just in bordering areas, not all, but it's implied many children were adopted by the Order and taken to their orphanage and basically were more or less indoctrinated against their own will to the Order, to the cult's teachings. These kids didn't really have much of a frame of reference. So, they were thinking, this orphanage that I'm growing up in, these teachings, this is the way it is. These people are, my surrogate parents. They're teaching me the ways, but the ways that the children were not being taught were very good. So essentially, this water prison was used by the Order And again, this water prison is in the central of Toluca Lake and the forest world where the orphanage also borders Toluca Lake. So this was kind of the last resort, so to speak, of the order to bring the children. And there was just, it's implied that there was all types of terrible abuse happening from just emaciation, dehydration, starvation, all that stuff. Also just, physical abuse. It's really messed up. And also cannibalism. Yep, there's that too.
Oh,
so
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yep. There's a room. There's a room. The last room that we see in this area is actually it reminds me of one of the rooms from Resident Evil 2, Brian Irons' torture chamber, where there's just like blades and sharp wheels hanging, and through documents that you read during this game and come across, you come to find out that the children who just ultimately did not cooperate were turned into food. So it's pretty cray. So anyway, yes, I don't know 4. Anyway, so Nico, do you want to describe what you're about to do?
I've not been able to do this. I've tried it so many times, but basically all I gotta do is try to press enter and basically menu button or escape as quickly as I can in a sort of a segmented fashion to be able to try to skip this this tutorial here, or this little cutscene, but it just doesn't want to work out for me because it's wheel. I used to be able to get it, but I guess it was on a specific setup. But basically we have to do 2 at the top, 4 down here, and hope for the best. Now, we should probably get a few donations in as well. So, Zed, would you like to take over?
Indeed, yeah. We're getting so much love from the crowd and everybody watching. Thank you so much. I have $100 from our guy, the Blacktastic 252. He says, Nico surely drives me to be a better person every day. Leadership from a friend like that could never steer me wrong. Hopefully this run pace is great and doesn't hit the skids anytime soon. Even as I'm drifting off to spooky slumber, I still wanted to support one of the kindest hearts, no pun here, in speedrunning. Love you, buddy. Thank you so much for this amazing donation.
Love you right back, buddy. Thank you so much for that donation. That is so... Okay. The puns, though.
Let me get in one more real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
RC8885 has donated $40 saying, may our great helmsman bring us through the hills devoid of sound. Thank you so much. This one goes towards the near replicant outfit bid war that is still open during this run. Currently, Samurai is on top with 65, tied actually with the near automata outfit. So if you want to change that, this run is your last chance to do that.
All right, Rebirth, back to you, buddy. I hope I did the 2-4, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I believe you did.
Cool.
And yes, and thank you again for those donations. We really appreciate it. So yeah, what Nico was doing in that room, essentially, when you hit the prompt to turn the wheel, if you immediately press the button, that's the equivalent of escape. You can, if you press it at the right time, you can quickly pause right before a cutscene fires, and you can essentially skip the cutscene. And also, Nico's entering the code of this door. It's 0302, which is the same room that Henry lives in, room 302. So, yes, so now we are all done with the water prison area. We skipped the room that I was talking about, the very terrible room with all those sharp things. And we're going to go through the hole again. And now we're just going to be on the building tops of the area across from where Henry lives, across from South Ashfield Heights. And we're going to encounter another individual, a man by the name of Richard Braintree, who is also a resident of South Ashfield Heights, and he's known to the residents as being kind of a mean dude, not a very nice fellow. But he shortly attempts to kind of assist Henry in getting through this area, but it's very, very quick and it's only in cutscenes. So yeah, we're
skipping it.
Absolutely. So we skipped another cutscene. So these ape-like men, ooh, you got the double spawn. That's fun. These ape-like men that are falling from the skies are known as gumheads. And basically, so going back to Walter Sullivan, he was abandoned by his parents in room 302. It's basically implied that his mother gave birth to him, and then the parents were like, let's skedaddle, let's go. So Walter, as a baby, was abandoned in room 302, and after the order kind of took him under their wing, they essentially kind of hatched a master plot to have Walter carry out these series of murders, kind of as we're seeing throughout the game, these NPCs disappearing. These series of murders to basically escalate to basically, in the Order's eyes, they basically wanted a failsafe in case they didn't revive their god, which is a central plot point to Silent Hill 1. Dahlia Gillespie, she was who's like the main antagonist, more or less, of Silent Hill 1. She was heavily involved with the orphanage as well. So they hashed a plot like, hey, let's get this kid or kids. It's possible they were trying to get multiple kids to kind of be privy to this plot. And real quickly, we're in a pet store and we're dodging these enemies, and we got some sports keys. This area can get kind of hairy because these hyena dogs.
Let's go. That was nice.
That's awesome.
Whew.
Very nice. Yeah, there's a lot of dodges that you need to do in this area. Just a lot of enemies kind of all over the place. So the Order told Walter they kind of lean toward mother. Mother is God. Mother is everything. You want to meet your mother, right? Well, do these series of murders and carry out this ritual and go to room 302 and you will meet your mother. So they kind of leaned more toward, mother is great, father not so great. So Walter Sullivan's view of men in general, or is just, not adult men, just men in general, is not very favorable. So these gumheads are these ape-like, short, stubby monsters kind of represent Walter Sullivan's view of men. So that's why they're there. So yeah, these areas again that we visit are all areas that Walter Sullivan visited during his young life. We actually just skipped a cutscene where little baby Walter, young Walter, I would estimate he's probably maybe about 4 or 5 years old. Richard Braintree, the neighbor of Henry's, he had many run-ins with little Walter Sullivan, baby Walter, as we call him. And so he saw him in the elevator, and he's like, "Hey, I know you." And then just little Walter just kind of ran away. But it's implied that little Walter, as a child, went on many subway and bus rides from the orphanage over to South Ashfield Side. So he traveled through the subway that we visited. He visited the apartment building where Henry lived. He also traveled through this building area, essentially to get to room 302. Nico, real quick though, before I continue, I just want to ask you, what was it like learning this game on steering wheel?
So it's actually interesting because, like, with the amount of different steering wheel runs I've done, as soon as I can get myself into a momentum of knowing a specific strat or something like that, it becomes quite ingrained at the same time. So it took me about 6 hours after watching Zarx's tutorial, which you know what? It just made me scream. I didn't get the cutscene skip. Anyway, the screen, get it? I tried to follow through with your joke as well, DJ Rebirth.
I was setting you up.
Thank you. Please continue.
Yeah, so that area we went through just now, yeah, there's as we go through this stairwell area, we hear a scream, and right now we're not entirely sure why. We're just like, oh, that's weird, somebody screamed, and we're gonna find out why we heard a scream, because we're gonna find Richard Braintree, the gentleman that we met in all the cutscenes we skipped. He's gonna be in the process of dying as well. So so we're just running up these stairs in general. This is a pretty low-key section, so if there are any other donations, we can definitely read those just while we're finishing up this area.
There are indeed some. We have, there's some bows to do apparently, because Soggy Spat has donated $10 saying bows. And Sunny Muffin 8 donated $20 with the message, 3 a.m. gang here, let's add some bows to Sven Dizzy. Good luck on the run, Nico.
Thank you, Sunny, thank you. Ooh, this way.
Can we do some more?
Yeah, let's get one more in.
One more, alright. Nico with a C has donated $5 saying, hi Nico, I already know you're gonna crush this run. I can't wait to join in about 12 hours. You better give me a big hug.
You know it, buddy. I'm going to give you the biggest hug. I can't wait to see you again, my friends. Thank you all very, very much for the donations. Thank you all so much for your support so far. Rebirth, let's continue.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you again, everyone. We really appreciate it. So now we are in one of the final areas of the first half of the game, which is apartment world. This is the exact world where Henry's apartment is. So we're in room 301 right now. We just spawned outside of room 301. We're actually going to run past room 302. And I know what everyone's thinking. Man, that hamburger meat on the wall just looks absolutely delectable.
It's 3
I
a.m.
probably wouldn't
here.
recommend eating.
I'm very hungry. It's 3 a.m.
Absolutely. So, so that gentleman that we just spoke to, he's far from gentle. That is the adult form of Walter Sullivan. Right now, he's later in the game. He's gonna try and kill us and our neighbor Eileen, who we're gonna officially meet very shortly. But right now, he's pretty docile. He's just kind of chilling out. Henry's just kind of going through these areas, witnessing these grotesque murders. We still don't really understand why. Turns out Henry witnessing these murders is actually central to Walter's ritual that he's trying to carry out to meet his mother again. So we're just going through the apartment world right now. We got a couple keys from the superintendent's room. We're about to enter a room where there are leeches on the floor, and one strat that you're going to see Nico do in just a second is Nico does not have a weapon equipped. So what he's going to do is he's going to hold down his ready weapon button, and he's going to go directly up to this fridge. And what that actually does is it prevents those enemies from hitting Henry, and also it prevents Henry from stomping directly on the leeches. So if you run up to the refrigerator and just press the action button without holding down the ready weapon button, Henry will just do free for all, start stomping on those leeches, just like he's having a merry day, just hopping in, rain puddles, things of that nature. But by holding down the ready weapon button, we skip all that. So now that we've gotten this red slip of paper from that refrigerator, we're going to go back to the outside of Henry's door and slip that under so we can read it. Also, Walter is gonna be gone. Walter's gone. He said his thing and he left. You don't necessarily have to talk to Walter. In fact, I don't recommend talking to Walter because he kind of leads you into hearing his little monologue, and then he drops what's called a shabby doll, which actually was given to him by our next door neighbor in room 303, Eileen Galvin, when he was younger, when he kind of came through the apartment area as a child. Eileen gave that doll to him. Walter's kind of reminiscing about it, and he wants to give it to Henry, but we do not want that doll because, one, it takes up space in our inventory, and everyone's most common instinct is to take it and put it in this the storage box in the apartment. Ooh, you got the paper on the first try. One strategy there, though, is, so real quick, we put the red slip of paper underneath the door. The only way to read it is to put it under the door and go back to the apartment to read it. If you look at the shoes and look at the little slip of paper real quick, you will grab the paper. And there's like another slip of paper it's possible to grab, and that takes time, so we don't want that to happen. Anyway, so by reading that slip of paper, we now have a doll key that has spawned directly next to Henry's bed. It just appears after you read the paper. This world is made of magic. So now that we have that key, we can go into our next door neighbor Eileen's apartment. We're trying to when we're going toward our apartment with the slip of paper, we hear Eileen pounding on her door, kind of like she's in distress. So when we go through her door, well, she is unfortunately in distress. And what you witness is actually you find a cutscene of Walter assaulting Eileen, but little baby Walter, he intervenes, and Walter kind of runs off, and Eileen lives. So it's implied. Well, when we go back to this area, if you look out the window, you'll see there's like an ambulance taking Eileen, and they take her to the hospital essentially, which is an area that we're about to visit. But we're about to visit a twisted version of this hospital that is actually a very an area in the speedrun that has killed many speedruns, because there's some very crazy RNG in that part. But yes, the hole in the bathroom is closed up. If we were to go to that hole, we would just see it sealed with like concrete, and so we basically had to create a new hole. So we found a succubus talisman. That's what it's called. Come from underneath our front door. We went into the laundry room. We used that in the center of the door, the center of the hole. And then we used the little placards that we picked up before we entered the rooms where the NPCs were killed, and we used that. And now there's a hole that leads to this hospital. So now what is about to happen is we're about to enter a very long hallway with a total of 22 doors, not including the elevator. There are 11 doors on the left. There's 11 on the right. It is a completely randomized hallway. There is an unlocked door somewhere that has
R1
in it.
Yo,
there it is. R1, very nice. So yes, that is an incredible. That's incredible RNG right there. So what that allows us to do is now we have to find a locked door. The locked door has Eileen in it. So what we can actually do now is, and if Nico, if you want to showcase, it's totally up to you.
I can't do it on the wheel right now.
Okay, no problem. So what you can essentially do is, and again, this is randomized. Sometimes it's possible to find the locked door first, but what you can do is basically once you get the key first, you can just use the key on the exterior of all the doors, and it'll basically say, you can't use this key here if it's the wrong door, and if it's the right door, it'll say, you've unlocked, you use the hospital key. So that's one kind of super awesome benefit of finding the key early on. Obviously, you know, this hallway is very there's these aggressive ghastly possessed wheelchairs that try and knock you over. Sometimes they just stroll past you, sometimes they just knock you on your butt. It's just it's the meanest thing. So right now I think we're on the we're on the 8th row right now. Again, this RNG is completely randomized. So, I mean, in a very ideal run that most of us, you know,
there it
most
is.
of us Silent Hill 4, oh, there it is. So
R1, R9.
R10s.
It's not
Crazy.
the best RNG. Like, obviously, everyone's favorite RNG is L1, R1. It just saves the most amount of time, but to get it is the biggest kind of rarity that you can get. If you get it, then you've ticked off one of the blocks of, like, you know, the achievable things that nobody can really get, but still, it's a nice bragging point, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
Okay, there we go.
So we have officially hit the halfway point of the game. The game has now done something else. Well, Silent Hill 2 kind of did this, but Silent Hill 4 really likes to capitalize. Where the game is now an escort quest. So now we basically need to escort Eileen through all four of the areas that we just traversed through that were tied to Walter Sullivan's past. And we need to go all the way through those with Eileen in tow and solve completely new puzzles. Completely new puzzles while simultaneously preventing Eileen from getting attacked by enemies. Sometimes we strategically leave her in certain areas in order to prevent her from getting attacked by enemies. There's also the game kind of works against you. And Nico, I think there was a key you needed to grab under the door. Yeah, the game actually tells you I can't go there. The game will again. Yep, there it is. Again, this game is just like walking into a room in your house and forgetting why you go. It has the repetitiveness will twist and turn your mind, and I think that's what brings me personally to speedrunning this game, because I just like the absolute chaos. Because if you get a good run through the chaos, it's just super exhilarating. But you gotta train yourself for it. It takes time. Again, I'm 4 years in, and I'm still kind of. So anyway, we went into the apartment, and now we got a little.
Chief, no, she did. I wasn't sure she came out there. She was a little bit too far to the right, so I got confused. There we go.
Yep. So, yeah. So now we're just waiting for Eileen to run up. Very nice. Very, very nice. So now there's a long stairway. Now, if Henry were to strike these are called patients, by the way. These very tall patients with any sort of weapon, the sound effect that comes out
a lot
is
of hits. That's 4 hits. Oh, boy. Oh, Eileen, why? Oh,
Eileen
no.
sometimes comes down the stairs very, very slowly.
What is this RNG right now?
Enemy movement in this game is also kind of erratic.
We
Perfect.
made it
All right.
through.
We survived the hospital. Very nice.
Just barely.
Right.
We got like half our health right now. Yeah, now's a good time for donations as well. So after that close beating action of our hearts and our minds, Zet, why don't you blow the hearts and our minds of everybody here in this room right now?
Perfect, yeah, there's a bunch of hearts and minds to be blown away by the love everybody's sending us here. We have $10 from Foxfire saying, couldn't pass up becoming part of ESA history on Nikoheart's steering wheel. Thanks so much for this awesome run and awesome event to support Save the Children. Thank you so much for the donation. And Icon has donated $10 saying, wanted to send a donation in while my good buddy DJ Rebirth is doing some commentary. Good luck, Nico. Thank you.
Awesome. Right. DJ Rebirth, I think it's back time to get to the commentary. Let's go.
All right. So now we are back in the subway area, the very first area we went through the game. And so our role is to, just go through these areas again. The differences is the areas, the level layout is mostly the same, but there are some differences. The NPCs that we met in this area, such as Cynthia, she will now be back, but she will be a very, very angry ghost. During the time that Henry travels through these areas, and Walter, one who's killing the NPCs. He's transforming them into very, very powerful ghosts, and these are the most powerful ghosts that he's created. We've seen other ghosts that we've encountered during this game that were other people that Walter killed that turned into ghosts. These 4 ghosts that we encounter going forward are just the most powerful ghosts in the game. They just have very unique mechanics, and they can thwart your progress during a casual speed run. Or I'm sorry, a casual play and a casual speed run. So we're trying to keep Eileen safe while simultaneously not getting stuck fighting these enemies, because they are very very powerful. We're going to skip a cutscene, but you will see her in third person. Cynthia will now be very similar to like an Onryo, the Grudge type ghost, that we saw in the movie The Grudge. And so Nico's just going to go through this turnstile and avoid her. So one thing I wanted to Ooh, that is awesome. Okay, what just happened there is basically when we go to the bottom of those stairs, that noise that we heard, the rawr noise, it means that Cynthia is spawning. You hear that anytime a ghost spawns into the room where you're at. That noise specifically there means Cynthia has spawned into the turnstile. One very, very unique thing about this game that in general, if Eileen gets attacked by enemies, obviously what's known as her possession value. Her possession value is essentially synonymous with her health. As her health ticks down, but she can't die. She can't die while you're escorting her. She can kind of fall on the floor, and you just have to wait for her to kind of catch her breath and come back up. But other ways she can be damaged is this was discovered by, I unfortunately forgot their name, but it was someone that was in the Silent Hill 4 Speedrun channel in the overall Silent Hill Discord. They discovered that when Eileen is, if you leave Eileen in a room and there is an enemy in there, every time you go through a door, any door, whether you're entering the room or exiting the room, her possession value will tick up. The more possessed she is, we'll start hearing her just kind of speak in tongues, saying a lot of weird stuff. We might see her get possessed. She might start talking to herself. It's pretty random. Also, what's happening in this apartment is our apartment, which actually earlier in the game while we were traveling through it, it was not haunted. Now it's very haunted. As you play through this game, there are actually 14 separate random hauntings that you can experience, but usually you have to play through the game multiple times to experience them all. Also, it was found out that the GOG version, the PC GOG version specifically, there were a couple of hauntings that just did not make it into the game, but they were in the game's code. This was confirmed. So essentially with that whole Cynthia bit, with Cynthia spawning into that room, we want Cynthia to be in there because as we go through doors, Eileen is not stuck in a room with an enemy. Her possession value will still go up, but because she is not in a room with an enemy, it'll tick up a lot. Tick up, tick down. I forget if she's at 100 or 0 to start. But yeah, as we want her as little possessed as possible because one, it could heavily affect a speed run. And 2, actually, the ending that you get, this game has 4 total endings, and they are basically tied to how much damage, whether it's directly by enemies that Eileen takes, or by her possession value going up when you leave a room. The more possessed she is, and we'll see at the end of the game, she'll basically run very quickly into this big giant spinning wheel of death, and it's terrible. So that thing is kind of tied to the endings that we had. Also, who remembers the escalator wallmen? They are back. There's less of them. There's less of them, fortunately, this time. But yeah, there are a total of 4 different endings. 2 are tied to how possessed Eileen is, and the other 2 are tied to if you purge the apartment. It is possible to purge the hauntings from the apartment. Generally, when you're playing this on a speedrun, we don't the any percent route. We don't bother with purging the hauntings from the apartment, which you can use holy candles for. There's these holy candles that you pick up that can purge those hauntings, and also if you use it during if Eileen appears possessed, if you drop it in front of her and you wait long enough, it kind of heals her, and you can also use it to deflect the ghosts. There's a lot of little different things you can use to just against the hauntings and the ghosts and whatnot. Also, we have this coin. We went to the apartment to wash a coin that we picked up from this box inside this apartment. Inside the subway train that we used a little key on. So now that's what Nico was doing going into the apartment. He washed the coin, and we took the coin. We had to wash the coin first, but he took the coin to the vending machine. Just a standard run-of-the-mill vending machine in order to get a murder scene key, because that's what you get from vending machines, murder scene keys. Totally low key, totally normal stuff here. So what we're now doing is we're using actually Cynthia, her subway ticket, to go through these turnstile areas. Now we use the murder scene key, and there's the room. This is the room that Subway World 1, the first time we came through here, ended. Now we're back in here. Cynthia is not here, but we found a train handle. So we just kind of go around getting these real abstract random items, just kind of in an effort to complete these areas. So one kind of funny thing here is the game makes you think that you need to escort Eileen down this escalator, where actually you just need to reach the bottom. It doesn't matter where she is. As long as you reach the bottom, she will be there. But we have to avoid these. And I'm going to just not make any noise for a second because there are audio cues here. Sorry, Nico.
No worries, no worries. One. Okay. At least you knocked me down, buddy. Thank you. It's why I took that nutrition drink earlier on, because I worry about my health. I'm not the best runner. Okay, there we go. Nice. There's one more.
All right. 4 times is a charm. Good to go.
There we go. Nice.
Yep.
That's always the most stressful bit, because not only your health gets removed, but Eileen's can do. Okay. Eileen's health can also get affected as well. There we go. Possession levels and stuff like that. Oh boy. Oh no. I'm about to get bodied. Oh no. Oh no. Just get me through.
Oh no.
Not right now.
This. So one of the newer strats of this run, and if Nico dies, he'll be able to continue. He'll be fine. There's also a very interesting mechanic in this game. DA.
I'm through.
Adjustment.
Oh my god!
Fortunately, if you die without creating a save, the game will give you the ability to continue from the title screen. You'll just continue at the last hole that you went through. It was actually discovered kind of early on that if you die in the game and continue about 10 to 12 times, you can actually another thing you can do is you can exit out of the game and continue. If you do that 12 times, it will kick off the in-game difficulty adjustment, so it'll make enemies hit less hard. It makes enemies take less damage to die as well, and that was kind of more or less discovered by accident. So there is actually a speedrun category of I think quick continue, Q/C is what it's called. So that's kind of a fun little speedrun category. So I think before I go into some major lore, do we have any more donations?
We do. We have $20 by Jordan Pruden saying, "Hey Nico, you are running well, almost at speed. Know that we as a community are watching and judging you, but still love you. Keep up being the awesome person you are, and I am donating $5 for every wheel skip you get. Do us all proud, because we totally aren't all watching in call."
Oh boy. Thank you all so much for the donations there as well. I think we'll go immediately into the lore now. Rebuff, take it away, buddy.
All right. So real quick to describe what's happening in this area. Nico is picking up a torch, and he's lighting the torch because he needs to take the torch and go to 5 separate wells to get 5 body parts. Yes, body parts. Fortunately, not real human body parts, but they are body parts of a human mannequin. So we need to kind of go throughout this entire area while with Eileen in tow for a certain amount of time. We're going to get to the kind of in front of the orphanage area, and we're going to kind of move as fast as we can, just like that little hyena dog. And hopefully Eileen will be here with us. And
I don't think she is.
Sometimes you can actually check. Yep. Eileen, she'll seem like she's going fast, and sometimes she will be not so close behind you. Let's see. So sometimes you can check your map and see if she's there. She's represented by like a red or blue triangle.
I don't have the map button assigned, which is a little bit worrying.
That's okay. That we work through it. We make it work. So let's see where Eileen is.
Oh boy.
Eileen is.
Oh no, I'm
there's
nearly
Walter.
dead. I'm nearly dead.
There's Walter, by the way. Walter has now has decided. You know what? It's time to try. Oh, there she is. Here's
I have a
Eileen.
sliver of health at the moment. I don't like this.
Yeah, and remember, it isn't. Unfortunately, it isn't the end of the world if we do die, because we can continue with a full clean bill of health at the most recent hole that we went through. So it shouldn't be a detriment to the run too much. I don't think we'll lose much.
Yeah, I'll go.
Nico's gonna still keep it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the hole right now just to make things a little bit more chill on my end. Oh,
absolutely. Yep. Little. Sometimes it's it helps to just do little safety safety things. That's the general marathon safety to do. And so get it, go in. And then leave again. He's going to leave through the laundry room. What's going to be really interesting is sometimes you can get a haunting in the bedroom. Let's see if we get it. Okay, we didn't get it. Perfect. Sometimes in the bedroom, in this post, in the second half of the game, you'll wake up in the bed and you'll immediately the screen will be flashing red and you'll take damage. That's one of the worst hauntings to get, because I mean, who wants to wake up taking damage, for one, and two, that
we're supposed to be gaining health now, right?
No, and the reason we're not gaining health is because now the apartment is terribly haunted, and so that's kind of one of the quirks of the game. Is the first half of the game the apartment does heal you, which is why you didn't see Nico picking up many health drinks throughout the run, because the apartment essentially just heals you. But the second half, now since the apartment is getting more and more haunted, no health for you, and sometimes hauntings that take health from you.
And I'm dead.
That's okay.
There we go.
All right. Do you all enjoy the run?
No. There's the replication anyway.
So Nico will continue, and that should bring us back to that hole in the wall. And I think we'll have some health. I think the game kind of likes to throw you a little bit of bone. Nope, sure doesn't. All right.
Oh boy.
So if that does happen again, Nico, there is a first aid kit. If you make a right from that hole and run through that little mine area, there's also a health drink. So obviously, so you know where that stuff is. I don't need to tell you. All right.
Okay, we're gonna do that then.
I'm telling you, everybody, this game, even on easy mode that we're playing on, is very unforgiving. This game will just, if you don't know where you're going, even playing through casually, this game has its quirks. I love this game, by the way. So this gives us a good opportunity for me to talk about the lore. Walter Sullivan, he was abandoned as a baby in South Ashfield Heights. He was adopted by the Order. They indoctrinated him with their terrible teachings, so he would meet his mother again. This was a failsafe by them, so they, in case the plot from Silent Hill 1 does not succeed, they had this plan. What they hatched in Walter's mind is basically what happened. And in Silent Hill 2, you briefly find a newspaper in the trash chute of I forget the apartment building's name, but you find a newspaper that talks about someone named Walter Sullivan who killed 2 children on railroad tracks. Very, very brutal, and it's tied into like a weird little quiz portion that pops up during the game. It is wild. So with that in mind, so basically, in a nutshell, what happened was prior to the events of the game, Walter Sullivan, I think while he was like in his early 20s, it's implied that he died during his mid 20s. And so the version of him that we see, he's about 12 years older, but he's still technically in his mid 20s. He killed, let's see, I have some notes here. He killed a total of 10 people, and then an additional person, which was himself. What happened was he basically killed these people. He took their hearts. Either the game is a little unclear on this, but the game either implies that he was arrested for the murder of those 2 children, Billy and Miriam Locane, which are victims, his 7th and 8th victims, and those actually giant bird-like creatures that we see, the twin victims, as they're called, those are the manifestation of Billy and Miriam Locane. They didn't turn into ghosts; they just turned into very big, floppy, bird-like creatures. So basically, what happened was Walter took these 10 hearts. He somehow killed himself afterwards, but then he was able to go into room 302 in a storage room while the current resident, Joseph Schreiber, was living in there. He performed what was called the Ritual of Holy Assumption, and then he officially died. What happened when the Ritual of Holy Assumption, that's 11 victims in, it basically created this other world that we're traversing, that we're exploring, that's tied to Walter's past, and Walter has just kind of become this omnipotent poltergeist, who's basically, it's kind of implied, by the way, who remembers Jasper, the the chocolate milk guy. Well, there he is, and he's hotter than ever. Yeah, he's on fire the same way that he perished. So so essentially now Walter trapped he's in kind of a Nightmare on Elm Street type of fashion. That's kind of what they don't officially explain it, but these other worlds, somehow Walter is pulling, these NPCs, Cynthia Velasquez, Jasper Gain, Andrew DeSalvo, and Richard Braintree into these just grotesque worlds. And they just kind of appear there. And I like to think it's just kind of like a Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street type of deal. It's never really explained, so it kind of leaves, a lot up for the imagination. So post-mortem, after Walter died, he killed 4 more people. The 15th person he killed was the former resident of room 302. His name's Joseph Schreiber. He was a journalist. Henry, the gentleman that we're playing as right now, he's a photographer. He's just a hobby photographer. Doesn't say if he's professional. He might be a professional photographer. He's got a lot of pictures in his apartment. But Joseph Schreiber was a journalist. And throughout the game, a lot of those red notes that we see kind of just appear under our door, behind different shelves that basically outline different lore and different plot points in this game, and those are actually, it turns out, transmitted to us by the ghost of Joseph Schreiber, the person we played as at the very, very briefly, but at the beginning of the game in that nightmare world, the nightmare version of room 302. So turns out, Joseph was able to, even though he couldn't escape death, he was able to still kind of maintain in his ghastly form a little bit of his humanity and become what the game calls the giver of wisdom. He transmits this wisdom to Henry via notes and memos and stuff like that. So he's the 15th victim. So Walter's his goal in general is to kill 21 people. The 21st person has to be the resident of South Ashfield Heights. Or I'm sorry, the resident. Most of them are residents of South Ashfield Heights. The resident of room 302, kind of in an effort to purify his mother. The people that he kills, essentially according to the ritual, all are like deliberate order. They all represent something. The lore for this game originally was scattered throughout like the game's manual. I think there were like a couple of comics here and there. There was also like an actual website that Konami hosted that had like little tidbits, and it was just a lot of people have just gone and just done very good detective work and just kind of like tied the plot together. So my knowledge of the plot, I didn't have to do much work for because everything was already there on the internet. But this plot that I know, which comes from a lot of like Silent Hill streamers that do deep dives of the plot as well, they got their knowledge from those sites and I got my knowledge from them. So thank you. So essentially, yeah, the end goal of Walter is to take out 21 people, the 21st person being Henry Townsend, and if he succeeds, he gets to be with his mother again. He gets to be with mommy. That's all that matters. And in actuality, what happens, and we might actually see this ending today because Eileen did take a lot of damage. We'll see what happens. But if Eileen takes a lot of damage and the apartment is not the hauntings are not purged, which is generally what we do during a casual or during a speedrun of this game. We don't purge the hauntings again. Sometimes Eileen will take a lot of damage. Sometimes she won't. We hope she doesn't take damage, so she survives. But if she doesn't survive, and you'll kind of see a little bit later when we encounter Walter, what happens. Also, what we did really quickly is now that we've gotten all the body parts, we use them on that mannequin that was on a wheelchair. It comes to life very, very quickly, and then it kind of rolls away and exposes this hole under this dilapidated building.
Anytime soon. There we go.
There it is. When you hear Eileen's footstep, there's a lot of audio cues in this game, by the way. When you hear Eileen's footsteps on the wood, that's when you know that she'll be there. She'll follow you into the hole. There we go. Perfect. So now we are done with Forest World Part 2. So now that we're on another stairwell, do we have any donations?
Indeed we do. Runis Rapture has sent us $5 saying, those doggos are all over Henry almost as much as our doggos were all over Nico at SGDQ. Good luck, Nico. Here's to L1R1. Also, hi, husband.
Thank you, Runis. That's my wife. Thank you for your generous donation, Runis. We appreciate it.
And Jen Long sends us $30 saying, shoutouts to DJ Rebirth and Nikoheart for doing this run. Vroom, vroom.
We got time for some more donations. We can probably get one more in.
All right, one more in. We have Big Bear Krause has donated $10 saying, "Go, go, go, Nico." Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone, so much for your generous donations. Back to you, DJ Rebirth.
Awesome. Thank you again, everybody. We really appreciate it. So now we are back in the water prison world. We have just a couple more areas to go through before we approach the end, but not without a challenge. So immediately when we enter this area, Walter is pointing a gun at us, but fortunately he takes a moment to shoot. So now we're actually just going to kind of go down this area, just do our best to go through this area to get Eileen to follow us and, you know, go as quickly as we can to get to the bottom so we can pull her through a door and then do some interesting manipulation with her AI to keep her in that room. You do that quite a few times during this run where you'll enter a room and you just want Eileen to kind of stay there as to, again, prevent her from coming into contact with enemies while you are not in said room. So essentially, so the 4 endings, let's talk about the 4 endings real quick. So the best ending you can get is the escape ending, which means Eileen does not take any damage and you've successfully purged the hauntings from the apartment. There's an ending that's called, let's see, I wrote it down. It was called, I always get this. That's right. It's called Eileen's Death, where essentially you purge the hauntings from the apartment, but unfortunately throughout the run, Eileen has taken enough damage for her to die during the final boss fight. The ending that we usually get on a quick speed run where Eileen doesn't take much damage is called the Mother ending, where Eileen survives, but the apartment is still unfortunately haunted. And it's a little bit of a meme because, you know, Henry and Eileen being kind of aware that their apartments are haunted, they kind of joke about just going back to that area. And then I'm not sure if it's canonical, but one of the worst ending, but I think it's kind of the coolest ending you can get is the 21 Sacraments ending, where you don't purge the hauntings from the apartment. Eileen has taken enough damage, so she dies during the final fight. And what you basically see is you see Henry's apartment. You know, well, if I won't ruin it in case we get the ending because it's wild. We'll see what ending we get.
Yeah, we'll see what possession levels are like.
Absolutely. And this was the first Silent Hill game to not have any sort of like joke meme ending. So it doesn't have like a UFO ending. It doesn't have any sort of like cool dog ending. I think they brought that back in Silent Hill Homecoming and Silent Hill Downpour. But Silent Hill 4 was just developed by for the most part, the core Team Silent that had developed the other games. But from what I understand, when this game was in development, it was called Room 302 and it wasn't supposed to be a Silent Hill game. It was kind of after the fact adapted into a Silent Hill game and they just kind of made it work. But you know, we like to think as a result that unfortunately some endings were the production time may have been cut, so we didn't get any meme endings. So what we just did is we went back to the big terrible room with all the sharp objects where we found Andrew DeSalvo's corpse, and Henry found a prisoner shirt that looks pretty much identical to his shirt. Looks like a dress shirt, and it's covered in wax. And I forget what it is exactly said, but basically if you like examine the shirt, Henry's like, oh, this smells like blood. There's another place that smells like blood where I can wash this. It's really inconsistent. Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, what we need to do is we need to take that wax-covered prisoner shirt that looks like Henry's dress shirt, and we need to take it briefly into his apartment and stick it in his bathtub that's kind of already filled with blood, and it'll clean it off. As you know, that's how you clean clothing.
Yeah,
that's how you launder your clothing. And
what a concept!
Yep. So exactly. So yeah, we're using the prisoner shirt, and essentially you get a message that says that, you know, that prisoner, the prison guard guy, he's got the key. I'm gonna take him out. So now essentially what we're gonna do is we're gonna get set up for the prison area. Yep, Nico's gonna grab. He's gonna grab his gun. He's gonna grab the sword.
Thank you. That's the thing I was doing.
Storage.
I was like, "There's one thing I needed to do." So
no worries.
Reminder. Here we go.
Of course. Yep, he's gonna get his gun. We picked up a silver bullet, by the way, when we were going through Forest World. The silver bullet is very, very important to taking some of these ghosts out. Because it just puts them down immediately. And Andrew DeSalvo, who's the prison guard, we need to make sure to hit him with the silver bullet, and then we need to stab him with the sword. We got the sword of obedience. That basically, when you put a ghost down, if you hit them with the sword of obedience, they stay in that position and they won't bother you in any areas. Because a lot of the ghosts will, in fact, traverse to other areas and follow you and just make you have a not very nice day. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna run down this corridor, and you can do this a few different ways. You can use your body to run into these fungus-like creatures, and what it does is it makes them gone, and it also kills them. And here is Andrew Salvo in ghost form. We hit him with the silver bullet, and we're gonna run up to him and use the Sword of Obedience so he doesn't get back up. And this initiates a sequence where we get a power generator. And now Nico is on his way to arguably one of the. There's a lot of pretty bad rooms in this game, but this room that we're coming toward. If you remember Billy and Miriam Locane, the two children that I was talking about that got transformed into bird-like creatures. Well, when Walter performed his ritual of Holy Assumption, a couple things happened. First, Billy and Miriam Locane, they did not spawn as ghosts. They spawned as the twin victims, as we call them, the two merged bird-like children creatures, 2 in 1. It also spawned many of them. So there's a lot of them throughout these worlds. And we're about to enter a room with, I believe, about 1, 2, I think 6 to 8 of them. I always lose count, but there's a lot, and it's a lot of fun. Okie dokie. So
here comes the fun. So this part here, you have to go very, very specifically at a certain angle. You've got like, you're gonna get bodied basically. I don't think Eileen came through with us, no. Okay. There she is. Alright, here we go. So, you go across this little line here. And we're going to make a sharp left turn at this little non-bloodied part. Hug a little bit on the right, make sure they all come this way. Then we're going to try and go a little bit to the left, into the middle, make sure that Eileen can come through. No, she's getting bodied.
Nico's just going to do some cleanup here. That the pickaxe that Nico has, the pickaxe of despair that we actually got in Forest World, it is a very, very strong melee weapon, and it is sometimes a lifesaver in this hallway.
Eileen, please.
But yeah, essentially in this hallway, this is another part of the run that can claim many speedruns because you need to manipulate these enemies quite a bit in order to get past them. And we did hear the noise just now of Eileen falling on the ground. She's essentially stunned, so she'll come back up momentarily while Nico does his cleanup here. It's a fun little shooting gallery. So essentially, this is a good showcase of what happens when Eileen. There she is. Look, she's back up because we're on easy mode. Look at that. That was perfect.
Have a look at her skin at the moment. Like the blood marks that were on her skin are a lot more present now. That's definitely a sign that the possession levels are even higher now, basically. So that was
absolutely
shit. Yeah, we got definitely bodied at that point. So that's not exactly helpful. Hey, Zet, donations?
Let's go. Happy by 3 has donated $5 and saying about the escalator part. Fun fact about the term escalator: just like English has prefixes and suffixes, English has also a few non-standard infixes, including the Homeric infix, named after Homer Simpson, which is when you add a ma in the middle of a word. The more you know. And speaking of the escalators, Loki209 has donated $5 saying, "Hey Nico, that escalated quickly. Good luck on the run. Much love. Donation to Runner's Choice." So speaking of Runner's Choice and incentives, remember that the costume outfit choice for Nier Replicant, the run after this one, is currently tied in first place. So we have Samurai and Nier Automata outfit tied in first place. If you want to change that, do that right now. The run is almost over.
Okay, Eileen didn't come through with us initially, so we had to make sure that Eileen came through with us. There is a little skip that you can do there to make that you can just like hug on the side of that fence and the enemy, and you can just go through, and you should be able to take both of you through. But unfortunately, not that time, so we just had to go outside and wait. All right, here we go. That's done. Right, Rebirth, would you like to continue?
So. Absolutely. So what you saw Nico do, and thank you again for those donations, what you saw Nico do was actually just now, by running into Eileen and leaving her in that room, that was probably one of the biggest skips in this entire game that is utilized by all speedrunners. If you've ever played through this game casually, when you go to Building World 2, as we call it, the second Building World, we went through this area earlier, and now we're going through it again. There's a whole bunch of puzzles you need to solve. You need to run all over the place, pick up all these items, put these in these really obscure locations. But by taking Eileen into that room, by running by shoulder bashing her and stunning her, you can run back into the elevator. Normally, if you try and go down the elevator, if you go down the ladder, you get Eileen. Oh, nope. If you try and go down the ladder with Eileen in, there we go. Perfect. If you try and go down one of the ladders in the elevator with Eileen next to you, she's like, I'm injured. I can't go down there. And so that's what kind of kicks off solving these big old puzzles. So there's an alternate route to take Eileen down that we'll normally see during a casual playthrough. But by leaving Eileen in that upstairs area and shoulder bashing her, when we go and we run to the outdoor area where Nico is just kind of waiting for Eileen, basically the wall between that area and the area we left Eileen despawns, and so she just kind of merrily runs through that area. So it's a very convenient skip and a very nice addition to the speedrun to help us get through this area very quickly.
Did I get it? Sadly not. I thought it would have got it. Like basically when she just gets off the stairs onto the ground, I should be able to go to the door and be able to take both of us through. It's like a very sort of like a tight window. But unfortunately, I just missed it. So, what's the code here? Is 4750? Yeah. Or was it
4890?
4890. Thank you.
No problem. That's what my brain is for. So, yep. Now we're going through this this stairwell area where we heard a big old scream earlier. Well, no scream this time, but we're going to the bottom. But we are probably going to scream once we get into the next room. I'm not going to spoil that. So
everyone's favorite late game RNG.
Yes.
Fun.
So we're actually we are approaching as we go down the stairwell. The first and second to last boss of the game. The boss is known as the One Truth, and it's basically the barrier between Henry and learning the truth about Walter, the true truth of that he's killable and what's going on with him. And so those wall men that we approach on the escalator, there are now going to be there's going to be 8 of them sliding up and down the walls. They're going to be gigantic, and we have to find one of them is the correct one, and one of them is the correct one that will, when we hit them, all of them will take damage. We essentially just need to take that one out, but it is 1000% RNG, and sometimes it is difficult to find. So this is another very crazy point of the run that is but the RNG is just in full bloom. Also, Eileen said her famous line, "My leg hurts." So now Nico's going to go through this area and find the One Truth. Let's see how we do.
I found it, but my button isn't working too well. There we go. Come on! Okay, it's this one here. Come on! Oh my god! It just happens that
we know which one it is now.
The flipper seems to not work a few times, so we gotta just keep on going for it. We unfortunately lost a few bullets. Let's go. There we go.
Oh, that is such good RNG. That is legendary RNG. Yeah, essentially, as you shoot it, they all take damage, and yes.
That was actually the best RNG I've had in probably a year and a bit. So that was fantastic. That couldn't have gone any better, honestly.
That is really nice. So yeah, essentially with that boss, if you get really bad RNG, you're just running around that room forever and ever, trying to find the right one. Eventually, you'll find the right one, but it is very possible to run out of bullets, so it's very good to have a melee weapon on hand, whether it's the pickaxe of despair, whether it's the axe. That room can be handled a number of ways, but the handgun is absolutely the quickest way to dispatch those enemies. Sometimes you can actually, if it's not the first One Truth enemy on the wall, if it's like 2 or 3 down, if you shoot the gun and kind of pull the maneuver the camera over, you can essentially kind of curve your bullets in an Angelina Jolie-esque fashion to hit those enemies. So yeah, that's really good that we got the first one, because that room can be a huge pain. Again, we've got the hospital that has all the RNG. We've got the general enemy behavior throughout this game that's RNG. We've got the twin victim hallway that we went through earlier, and we've got the One Truth. It takes a very long time for people to get new personal best in this game, because a lot of times we're banking on the RNG just to be very very nice to us. Some of the quicker ways to get through this game are to use keyboard and mouse, specifically in the apartment, because I believe if your DPI, your dots per inch on your mouse, is set to a certain degree, you're able to just execute turns and movement in the apartment. That's like superhuman. So that's kind of the preferred way. I play with the controller just because I originally ran this on console. But anyways, friends, we are officially in room 302 again. We've just been in this room the entire game. It's called, Silent Hill 4, the room. But we are actually in room 302 of the past. We're in the deepest part of Walter Sullivan, where there's just that we found what's called the Crimson Tome, and that essentially kind of outlines the ritual that Walter executed, and so now we're running into the bedroom. We're going to read 3 more memos, and then we're going to go back to the living room, and we're going to skip a cutscene, but we will actually be confronted by the ghost of and his final appearance of Joseph Schreiber, the former resident of room 302, and he's essentially going to transmit to Henry, this is how you kill Walter. You must kill him. You must unite him with his mother again. It's kind of vague, but I'll explain what that means and what it means for him to be united with his mother. He's going to be united with the flesh of his mother. He will actually be united with the flesh of his mother, but I'll explain what that means very shortly. But I don't want to ruin it because it's kind of crazy. So what we are picking up now is the Pickaxe of Hope. It's stuck in the wall in a very specific spot. Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
And now we're going to go back to our apartment, and we're going to use the Pickaxe of Hope in a very specific location, and we're going to see a huge plot twist. A huge plot twist. I kind of mentioned it earlier, but let's see if anyone remembers. We're going to turn to this wall. We're going to smack it with the Pickaxe of Hope.
I'm going to do a quick rebind in a moment as well, because I think my one flipper button is not working. We'll come to that bridge in a moment, but anyway, please continue.
Hey, look, it's Walter Sullivan. Remember how I talked about he carried out his ritual where he took 10 hearts, he did a weird ritual, and then he took himself out? Well, this is where he did it. And Joseph Schreiber, I believe it's implied that he did it while Joseph Schreiber was living here. And so Joseph Schreiber is the one who actually sealed up the wall. Now, what's particularly, and also we just searched Walter's corpse. They're called Keys of Liberation, but Henry describes them as, hey, I found some evil looking keys. So we got the evil looking keys. So Nico's going to shoulder bash Eileen there. That's actually very, very, very important. Because we're just going to kind of go to the very bottom of this area. We're in apartment world too. The game kind of fakes you out. It makes you think that you need to escort Eileen to the very bottom, and in fact you do not, because this is kind of a pretty dangerous area. There's a lot of narrow passageways and things of that nature. Joseph Schreiber essentially, after Walter Sullivan went in there and did his terrible things, Joseph Schreiber's just like, and he goes in there and he seals the wall with the drywall and things of that nature. So what's happening here? Cynthia's attacking us. Earlier when we got attacked by Cynthia, we got stuck in her hair. Ways to get out of this is you can use a melee weapon on her, and that will, you could either use the gun, you could use any sort of, just anything really. And her hair attack will basically stop enrapturing you. But the hair attack is one of the worst things about the Cynthia ghost. So
okay, I'm definitely going to do that rebind quickly because I can't seem to attack at all. Let's see, if I go to this one right here, and I'm going to change this button, which would be the right control, I don't know, to what would be my, this button here would be the left mouse button. So this is going to be the left mouse button. All the way scroll up, rebind, go back into the game, switch profile. Oh boy, what did I do?
Okay, I want to talk about this real quick. So the GOG version of this game, I've encountered this many times. We'll be okay. As soon as we get to the door, we'll be okay. The GOG version of this game, if you tab off the window and go back, it will essentially and potentially despawn assets from the room that you're in. Oh, and it'll turn Henry invisible. Sometimes he doesn't have a shadow here, so it turns Henry invisible.
Well, that's never happened before. Oh, this is hilarious.
This has in fact happened to me before.
Is this a meme run now? Where are they? Oh, I know where I'm going.
So. It's late. It's late. It's late where you are. It's it's
Oh god, honestly,
late-night job.
I've never seen this before. This is absolutely hilarious. So I'm actually playing this game absolutely blind now. So this is the challenge mode. Oh boy.
There's Walter. And again, if we happen to die, not that big of a deal because we will continue and respawn from a hole. But all things considered, Nico has this down. He's got the movement down. He knows exactly where Henry is. What's particularly interesting is sometimes when this bug occurs, you will see Henry's shadow, like his actual, the shadow of his body. But for whatever reason, his shadow is not spawning, so we're 100% invisible. So yeah, this is either a meme run or an intense challenge run. But mad props to you, Nico, for knowing exactly where to go.
I don't know how I'm getting through this right now. I'm genuinely shocked in all senses.
This is wild. This is so wild. So okay, we're try and get through this without laughing. We are at the very bottom of Apartment World Part 2, and we are now examining what are basically kind of look like Walter Sullivan's body wrapped in kind of a straitjacket and hanging from the ceiling.
That was actually a good room, though. Oh my god.
That was excellent. We're also seeing these kind of variations of the twin victims. I forget what those enemies are called, but they're pretty mean. So yeah, we need to examine about 5 or 6 of these Walter bodies, and what it's actually going to do is it's going to remove chains that are currently on the superintendent's room, because the superintendent's room has in fact something that we need, which is the flesh of Walter's mother that needs to be reunited with his physical body in order to defeat him. So now we're in the last room, and also as we examine these bodies, we hear little like sound bites from Walter's father just saying like, "We need to get out of here. I told you we shouldn't have had a baby, didn't I? I don't trust that superintendent." Oh, also the superintendent of this building is Frank Sunderland, who's canonically James Sunderland, the protagonist from, well, protagonist is subjective, but the protagonist of Silent Hill 2. It's his father, and it's a lot of us like to kind of agree that he's a slumlord in that regard, because I mean, after Joseph Schreiber just kind of disappeared from room 302, Eileen might be in there. Normally Eileen spawns in there.
I think they're invisible as well.
Yeah, I think she's invisible. Yep, she's invisible.
Oh my god.
So what we're Henry's invisible, everyone's invisible. All right.
Here we go. This is the ultimate challenge mode right now.
Absolutely, this is incredible. This is incredible. So we just picked up an umbilical cord. Walter Sullivan's umbilical cord, his original OG release, special edition. I'm just kidding. Umbilical cord. For some odd reason, Frank Sunderland was actually the superintendent of this building, was the one who discovered Walter Sullivan as a baby, and he eventually, gave up the baby to the orphanage. He had the best of intentions, but for some odd reason, he felt super inclined to save the umbilical cord. He's like, I don't know why I need to save this, but I need this. This means something. So, by him doing that, he actually saved the lives of many people, because depending on what ending you get, but this umbilical cord, basically, when we get to the end boss fight, we need to do something with it, and it will render Walter vulnerable to attack. Right now, Walter's kind of in super duper poltergeist mode. He's not vulnerable to attack whatsoever. So this umbilical cord is actually going to connect all the dots. And again, mad props, Nico, for navigating.
I still can't believe I'm doing this like completely blindfolded. This is absolutely insane.
This is incredible. This reminds me of playing like Dance Dance Revolution with the invisible.
Yeah, my goodness. Oh,
it's so
I'm genuinely intrigued to see, there's going to be another strat that we're going to be doing very soon, more than likely, which is going to be where we can kind of grab these forthcoming spheres and then kind of use it at the same time to kind of get an extra boost. But I'm genuinely intrigued to see if I could do that whilst blindfolded, in a sense.
Yeah, we'll see if Henry. We're gonna find out real quickly if Henry's sprite is visible or not.
Oh, okay, we're back.
Oh, he's back. We're back. We did it. We did it, everybody. Good job, everybody.
Here we go.
Okay, so now we are in the end boss fight. We are fighting Walter Sullivan. What we need to do, that enemy that's over there is called the Conjurer. If you noticed, Walter's body was missing from that cross area.
That'd be helpful if I could actually do a thing that gives them the thing. So how about I do, what's the button that I would normally do to give? Oh boy, I didn't think this far ahead. Oh no, what
We
button?
innovate as we go.
Would it be left click? No, what would it be the button to actually give? Would it be like start button or enter button? Probably enter button. Let's press the enter button. Let's go try that. Here's hoping that this works. Please don't say I messed it up again. Oh boy. Oh, they made it work!
I have never seen this happen. This is a first.
Oh, well then.
Okay.
Shall we just call this a run?
It's up to you. If you decide to quit, if you quit to title and continue, it should spawn you close by.
Okay.
Totally your call.
I don't know. We'll try. We'll try.
Yeah.
Like here's the thing. Like I can't remember what the button is to actually. Let's see options quickly. Let's try options.
Also, that could possibly be the missing fifth ending. We're discovering the secret fifth ending in real time.
Space. That's what it is. Space. Okay. So we want to put space here. Apply. Cool. Done. Exit. God. Okay. So now we know. Don't alt tab. That doesn't help out too much. Okay. Continue. Good. Shift
This run is absolutely incredible, by the way. This entire process is just absolutely amazing what we're encountering, and it shows off. It does show off a lot of quirks of the PC version. That this game is not perfect. It's pretty cool, but it's not perfect. One thing that I do want to point out is, so Nico is at half health right now. The apartment was more haunted than ever. When we go into this like pre-end boss area, our health gets restored. The game kind of throws you a bone. It's like, okay, you can do this. I suppose that's okay. All right. Here we go, everybody. End boss fight. Let's do it. So that big scary creature, that is the Conjurer. That is Walter Sullivan's physical body because it fell into that pool of blood, and it's
I'm still having issues trying to give him the item. Like it's just, whoop. There was a button I remapped, and it's just not doing it.
Yeah, in this section, we have to use the physical action, like the use item action button.
You know what? I'll just go to the keyboard to try and figure out what's going on. Action. It should be space. It says right there, action and investigate. Am I doing something wrong here?
It's whichever button you were using when you were going through the turnstiles with Cynthia's.
Okay, I'll just swap profile. That works. All right.
There we go. Hey, look.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So now we have united Walter Sullivan's body with his mother's flesh via the umbilical cord that once joined them that Frank Sunderland felt inclined to save. So now Nico's gonna try and there's something you can do here where basically if you use a key item such as like one of these spears that we're pulling out of these graves that these headstones that represent Walter's most 8 recent victims. If you use an item you're not supposed to and pull the spear at the same time, Henry, if you do it correctly, Henry, it will interrupt the spear pulling sequence, and Henry will just essentially it looks like he's ice skating across the screen. It is the funniest thing ever. So essentially, what we need to do again is, we need to put a total of 8 of these spears into the Conjurer, and that will render Walter Sullivan mortal, make us able to kill him. And it also, Poltergeist Walter, he kind of just chills on the ground here. So we got to do this 4 more times. Also, Eileen is completely possessed right now. She's walking toward the big spinning ball of death. Some people call it the Event Horizon ball. I've actually never seen the movie Event Horizon. If you've seen the movie 13 Ghosts, it's kind of similar to that as well. But essentially, depending on how much damage Eileen takes throughout this game, that determines how fast she will walk toward that thing. So it's very possible, and that we may hear her scream
more than likely,
soon.
yeah.
And that is due to the amount of damage she's taken throughout the game. And so this may set us up for the 21 Sacraments ending, which is the worst ending you can get, but also kind of the coolest ending.
Come on, there we go, 2. I'm a bit worried about like how I'm going to hit Walter here, but we'll find out. We'll find out one way or another. Yep, there we go.
So Eileen just died. She has now become the 20th victim. And we still have to kill Walter. But yes, the ending you get depends on essentially if Eileen lives or dies, and then obviously there's the two other endings that aren't part of the any percent route.
Oh boy!
But we're basically fighting Walter now. We need to avoid getting shot by him. There's some ways you can manipulate his AI a little bit to be able to do a good amount of damage to him and get locked into a get him locked into kind of a ooh, that was a dodge. Get him locked into a particular animation. But essentially, we need to hit Walter with a couple of supercharged power shots. He did what we call the spinneroonie just now.
Ow!
Just gonna let him go. Concentrate.
Oh, really? Oh, my goodness me. I think we'll call it there. Honestly, we're like 10 minutes over estimate, so we'll call it there. We got to the end. Time.
Absolutely. Awesome. So that, friends, was Silent Hill 4. Now, to be fair, Nico did die, and if he killed Walter, he would still die because Walter's powered up enough after Eileen dies to kill Henry and initiate the 21 Sacraments ritual. So in this instance, canonically, the Order has won. Wild.
Well, that was
that
was quite the extra experience, wasn't it?
that was supernatural. That was amazing.
I mean, it was nice that like at the end, like I got to show off like the sort of like the memory of like how I could play this game. Like what's it? You know what I'm talking about? Like but hey, it's like probably gone by 5 a.m. now or something like that. So I'm quite a tired boy. However, thank you all so much for the incredible donations. This was an absolute delight to be able to show off, especially with an unconventional controller. I would love to see more forms of unconventional controllers being able to play games in different formats. I'm going to try and submit more runs like this with a steering wheel in future, so I hope we'll see some more eventually. DJ Reba, thank you very, very much for the commentary, like giving us all the lore, the understanding about Silent Hill 4.
Absolutely.
It was an amazing treat to hear a lore story format of this game as well, and I hope that everyone at home enjoyed as well. Don't forget to please keep on donating to save the children. And please keep on enjoying the event. Today technically is going to be a very, very stacked day of amazing runs. So please keep on watching, keep on donating. Zet, any more donations before we go to the next run?
Yes, I have a great final donation to round off this run and add one final bow, actually. So we have a Hello from America by D-Digitized. It's $10. And it goes like this. Hello from America. This run by Nikoheart and his wheel steered me towards donating. I will be turning on more speedruns to watch more runners break their games. Here's to watching the donation total cruise towards 50k. I know these puns have been unbearable. Yeah, thanks. So I'll make sure I stop them from now on.
Oh my God, it's still
Thanks for the runs. Puns or not, I like all donations. Keep them coming. Thank you so much.
That was an incredible donation. I didn't know when it stopped or braked.
All right, and with that, thank you so much for this amazing run with a wheel and an invisibility challenge. We are off to the next one, waiting for the near replicant run. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.